Our government sometimes shuts down when Congress fails to pass spending bills by the October 1st deadline. Without an agreement, federal agencies lose funding, causing major disruptions, especially for the Department of Defense. To avoid shutdowns, Congress often passes a temporary fix called a continuing resolution, or CR. CRs keep funding at last year's levels, blocking new programs and investments. They buy time for lawmakers but create ongoing uncertainty for every department. The Department of Defense has never operated under a CR for a full year, but these stopgaps still hurt military readiness. Delays in projects, disrupted training, and shaky long-term planning are common. Stable, predictable funding is crucial for national security. In fiscal year 2025, Congress faced another deadline, March 14th, when temporary funding was set to expire. Without action, a shutdown loomed, putting defense funding at risk yet again. This cycle of uncertainty repeats year after year. The military needs more than temporary fixes to stay strong. National security depends on it. Why do budget fights keep happening? For fiscal year 2025, Congress was deeply divided. Lawmakers clashed over spending levels and how funds should be used, especially for defense. The House passed H.R. 1968, proposing a year-long CR with a $6 billion defense boost, but cuts to non-defense programs. The White House supported this, but Senate Democrats opposed it. Instead, the Senate offered S. 924, a much shorter CR, lasting only until April, with extra funds for shipbuilding. These competing plans left the Department of Defense in limbo. The DoD needs clear budget numbers for planning, but constant threats of shutdowns and repeated CRs disrupt everything. New military initiatives stall, and key decisions are delayed. The entire defense system waits for Congress to act. This uncertainty weakens national security readiness. Political gridlock puts military effectiveness at risk. The stakes are high, and the clock is always ticking. America's defense can't afford endless budget battles. What happens to the military during a shutdown? Not everything stops. Essential operations like defending the nation and ongoing missions continue as accepted activities. Military leaders decide which activities are vital for national security and must go on. The Secretary of Defense can also approve more exceptions to prevent defense gaps. Some military accounts have multi-year funding, so projects like equipment procurement or construction may continue if funds remain. But most activities funded by annual appropriations must halt if the money runs out. Routine maintenance, training exercises, and many administrative tasks are suspended. This disrupts daily operations and diverts leadership from their main duties. Just preparing for a shutdown drains time and resources. The result, a distracted, less effective military. Even short funding freezes can have long-term impacts. Stability is key for military readiness. Shutdowns make that impossible. How do shutdowns affect troops and civilians? Active duty service members must keep working, but their paychecks stop unless Congress acts. This creates financial stress for military families. DoD civilian workers also suffer. Some must work without pay, while others are furloughed and sent home. Only those funded by non-lapsed accounts may avoid furloughs. Shutdowns bring confusion and hardship across the board. In October 2013, a 16-day shutdown led to hundreds of thousands of DoD civilians being furloughed. Congress eventually passed the Pay Our Military Act, ensuring troops and some civilians were paid. Still, the disruption was severe. Wartime activities continued, but the overall mission suffered. Staff spent thousands of hours managing the shutdown and restarting operations. A 2019 law now guarantees back pay for all federal employees after a shutdown. But the anxiety and disruption remain a heavy cost. Shutdowns undermine morale and readiness. The price is paid by those who serve.